Hey, guess what? I'm Tim Sway, but right now you're watching Pinetop Jackson.
Thanks, Tim. Hey guys, I'd like to tell you the story about my very first guitar. It was a Harmony Stella. Over the years I lost it, or rather I let it go. For the past few months I've been hunting for a particular replacement. I finally found one and I'd like to show it to you, but first let me tell you the story, because you know, every guitar has a story. This is the story of my very first guitar. My first guitar was a Harmony Stella that came from my mom. My mom had two brothers and a sister. This is her family when I was a baby, and that's my mom down there at the bottom. Granddad bought the guitar for his family. There's my uncle playing the guitar. He was left-handed. Mom says she remembers him playing Stairway to Heaven on it. Here's my mom with the guitar when she was about 14 or 15. The Stella wound up living at our house while I was growing up, living in its chipboard case, leaning against the wall by the back door. I took a few lessons on it when I was around 15, and then I proceeded to beat the crap out of it, as teenagers are prone to do. I scrawled on it in Sharpie, I covered it in death metal stickers, I had a braided hemp rope tied to the bridge just for the heck of it. There's my little sister holding it. I'm probably 18 there, and she was... At one point I used the guitar strings to tie a kitchen fork to the headstock. I guess the joke was that it was my tuning fork. When I was 22 or 23, I drove cross-country from Indiana to Nevada to go to Burning Man. My car got me all the way to the middle of Nevada before it died. I had a cousin who lived in Reno. He came and got me, found me a ride to Burning Man, and I had a great time. There's the Stella. Oh, there's some giant dominoes I helped build while I was there. After Burning Man, stranded with no car in Reno, Nevada, I wound up hooking up with a small film company trying to start up called May 34th Films. I worked on that film crew as a grip on what was to be their first feature DV film called 5 Beans in a Cup. I don't know whatever happened to that project. We wrapped filming in December 2000, but then I took a Greyhound back home to Indiana. I lost touch with those guys. I left a few things I couldn't stuff into duffel bags with Eric, the director of photography, including that Stella Harmony. Honestly, it was in pretty bad shape by the time I left it behind. Some of the inner braces were coming loose, and it would vibrate and rattle when I would strum it. But I learned so much on that guitar, and I've had a few harmonies since then, but none with the particular characteristics I remember from my old guitar. Well, here I finally found one that reminded me most of my first guitar. I instantly recognize a Stella when I see one. That iconic bridge, the painted fret markers, the star in the middle of the headstock. The pickguard on mine had a little bit of a decorative flourish, like a flare. Some of them have just a more plain, rounded-off pickguard. So I was holding back on some that I found because they didn't have everything that I loved about my old guitar. Another thing that held me back from some was the asking price. These were cheap guitars sold in department stores. They were meant to be utility instruments. Nowadays, the vintage guitar market, the prices are getting a bit out of hand. Normal folks cannot buy an old Martin or a Gibson, so they start coming down to my level, looking at these types of instruments that can be referred to as second-tier vintage guitars, like Harmony, K, Silvertone, Supro, National. When the asking price for these old department store guitars go up, they start losing their utilitarian value, and they lose some of their appeal, to me anyway. I paid this guy $50 for this guitar, and that was a fair price. You see people trying to sell them for $100, $150, and then it starts getting ridiculous. I think that in 40, 50 years, people will view the current crop of department store guitars, the First Axe, Lion by Washburn, Maestro by Gibson. These types of inexpensive guitars will be seen as important slices of Americana. Happy to help you fit in your herd with this. All right.
Yeah, I'm happy that it's going to a home where it's appreciated.
For sure. You quit pulling on me. 650. All right, here's the Harmony Stella I bought from this guy named Doug. He had it in this box that he used to ship a Martin to himself in New Mexico. Looks like he paid $33 to ship it to himself in 2013. And he kept the shipping box, as anyone with a guitar, I guess anyone with the space would do. Alright, so here, the Harmony Stella. So, it does not have the star painted right in the middle of the headstock like mine did. That doesn't really matter. The fret markers, I think, are the same, or at least very similar. There's a nice pick guard. And, of course, that bridge. I recognize that bridge from a mile away. It's just a part of my childhood that I remember. So what's different here? My old guitar, this bridge, it was a removable one. It was just like a little piece of wood carved up. This one, oh, you know what? This one is a movable bridge too. It has fake screws, I guess. It's plastic, so my bridge was a little bit different. I have no idea what model number mine was. This one, let's take a look here with the flashlight. So model H-6128. A quality instrument made by the Harmony Company, Chicago, Illinois. Now over there on the right of the label, there's, I don't know if we can pick it up on the camera, there's a bit of a blue stamp. And it's pretty faded, hard to read. 37M. I see made in the USA. I'll have to look into that more. That might tell us a more precise date of when this was made. This Harmony Stella model H-6128 was only made for about 3 years, between 1972 and 75. Now my original one I think is a little bit older than this one. Impossible to know for sure because it's long since gone, but it's looking at the pictures of my mother having it and judging from her age, I think that hers was made like 1968, 69, maybe 70 at the latest. This one made between 72 and 75, a little bit too late. And now, looking closer at this stamp, you can see the little blue stamp on the side of the paper label. It says S72ML. That's gotta make me think that it was made in 1972. I don't know what the S stands for. Solid top, perhaps. The ML. Down at the bottom, it says made in USA. You can faintly read in the blue. If there are any Harmony heads out there who live and breathe this stuff, please leave me a comment and let me know exactly what the S stands for, the ML, if my suspicion is correct that this was made in 1972. And what does the ML mean? Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I will leave you with this vintage footage from 1996 of some amazing singer-songwriter action.